So thank you all for coming, especially given that we're on the far ends of campus and that it kind of pretended to rain today. I'm here to introduce Kevin Blake. I'll talk for 10 seconds. I first saw Kevin perform in San Francisco and was absolutely blown away and thought he needed to come to Google. So without anything more, Kevin Blake.
Hello, everyone. As he said, my name is Kevin Blake. My real name is Kevin Blake Ferguson, but my stage name Kevin Blake, so do not mess it up. Call me Kevin Ferguson off the stage. When I go out there, we can chat later. You can call me Kevin Ferguson. Now, it's Kevin Blake. And as he said, I do magic up in San Francisco. My stage show, I perform once or twice a month. You guys should all come as well. But I'm a magician. I'm also a storyteller and a performer. When people ask what I do, I usually refer to myself as a performer, which is admittedly almost as vapid and useless a descriptor as consultant is in the business world, but it still seems better than magician. Now, I don't like magician for two reasons, although you can still call me it. For two reasons. One, I don't consider myself to be very creepy. And two, I don't do the types of magic that you probably think of when you think of a magician. For example, I don't do bunnies out of hats. And at no point during the next 45 minutes or so will any cards or women be vanished, produced, transformed, restored, teleported, levitated, or penetrated. It's very important. There will be no penetration on the stage today. I promise you. No, I am a magician, but I want to show you guys some, I want to talk to you guys about some very interesting things that I like about magic today. Now, the topic of today's talk is creating magical experiences. I don't know if there's something different on the email list, but don't concern yourself with that. How many people in the audience tonight are engineers? Engineers, yeah. We have designers. Any designers? Yeah, one, two. Marketers, yeah. You guys are all people who create experiences for others. And this is the same thing that I do as a performer. And I'd like to talk to you guys about what I've learned over the past year of becoming a professional magician about how to create not just experiences, but create magical experiences, something that I think you guys, probably very relevant to you guys at Google. Now, before I get into the magical experiences part, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about, I want to answer the question of how, probably the second question I get asked most often, not how do you do it, but how did you become a magician? Now, every magician you ask will have a different story, and mine begins with me, 9 years old, laying on my family's living room floor, watching Star Wars with my dad. Now, everyone here, I'm sure, hopefully everyone here has seen Star Wars. Fantastic movie. And at 9 years old, this was the best movie I had ever seen. Immediately, for the next weeks after, I thought to myself, how can I not become a magician, but how do I become a Jedi? I'm sure many of you guys can empathize with that. How do I become a Jedi? You know, it affected me so strongly that I believed that the Force was real after this. I knew that it was obviously exaggerated in Star Wars, like I knew you couldn't actually lift, a sinking X-wing out of a swamp. But I knew that there were people on this earth who had the ability to bend matter, to like manipulate matter with their mind over matter. And so after that, I decided I had to do this myself. I started thinking. I imagined like ancient Indian shamans across the world who would spend all their concentration busking on street corners, focusing all their concentration on lifting a penny off of a table just like a couple inches. I knew that this was possible, and I had to figure out how it was done at 9 years old. I even went so far as to go into the library and find some books on telekinesis, which is obviously the ability to bend matter with your mind. I was a little bit of an odd child. And ultimately, I failed. I failed, which was a shame. But I didn't stop believing. A few months later, my parents brought me and my sisters to Disneyland for, magical adventures. And I don't know if you guys know, but you walk into Disneyland, and right on the right there is the magic shop. People have been to this magic shop, I hope. I've been to the magic shop. And that day, when we went to Disneyland, my parents brought us in. And you would not believe the magic trick that they showed us. No, they did not levitate a penny, but they levitated, this magician in here levitated something even better, 100 times better, in fact, my dad's dollar bill. The magician asked my father to borrow a dollar bill. My dad graciously lent him a dollar bill. And amazingly, the magician took the dollar bill and folded it right in half, right in front of my eyes like this. He just folded it right in half like that, and then he just placed it into the air like that. I was shocked. He asked me to grab it, so I snatched it out of the air, opened it up. There was nothing inside. There was nothing in the guy's hand, and I was shocked. I was like, what? Immediately, my mind went back, my 9-year-old mind went back to Star Wars, the Force, Jedis, the Indian shamans on the street corners, and I thought, here, right in front of me here is a man who has learned this most impossible mental feat of concentration and will. And not only that, but he was willing to sell it to me for $14.99. I had to have it, so over the next 2 days at Disneyland, I convinced my parents to buy me this secret, and we went back at the end of the trip to Disneyland, and I handed the man the $15, and he went back behind, the counter to get what I imagined to be a, ancient dusty manuscript with like scribbled incantations, like secret meditative scripts on how you can control matter with your mind. And I was a little disappointed, to be honest, to find a small folded piece of paper, a little pamphlet with staples in it, and a little plastic baggie with a small amount of very fine black thread. My heart sank. But it taught me a very important lesson about secrets and how the secret will never be as valuable as the experience. With that, I want to give you guys a magical experience better than the dollar. It's not really my forte. But I'd like to give you guys a magical experience. So are we ready? Yes? Okay. So now, I asked earlier if I was wondering just by myself, like, is it illegal to have an iPhone on this campus? I see people with Apple computers. Is this against the rules? Because oh wow, okay. Can we just get just for my curiosity, how many people are Android users? Wow, that is amazing. How many people are iPhone users? Wow, okay. Windows 7? No. No, me either. Now, I'm doing, back there, we have one Windows 7 user. I don't believe it. My performance is based strongly on audience participation. And I want to begin right now with an exercise in non-randomness, right? An exercise in non-randomness. So would you mind, wait, who has that? Was it you who had the, can I borrow your iPhone? Oh, you who had the iPhone? Sure. Let's see here. So, I'm not going to guess your passcode. What's your passcode? Okay. Easy as that, ladies and gentlemen. Easy as that. No, I'm going to get to the calculator app. My favorite thing about the calculator app is that you can still use it to write boobs with. I don't know, that doesn't hit often because or it hits in different crowds. We got a spattering of laughter on that one. I don't know if some of the older people used slide rules or something in their math class. I'm not quite sure. Let's see here. Boobs. Okay, nice. Now I'm going to clear that. Let's see here. I want to talk to you guys about, so first of all, I want you guys all to get in your mind a specific two digits, right? Any 2 digits that are somewhere in your life. All right, so that can be inside of your passcode, 1200, or somewhere in your phone number, your social security number, your parents' phone number. So I want all of you guys to go ahead and think of that right now. Go ahead and think of that right now. Just take a moment. Sure. All right. So, all right, we'll go ahead and clear that. Now, let's see. So what are, let's see here. Your 2 digits. 97. 97 you said? 97? Okay, cool. Now, you have 2 digits? Yeah, I don't want you to tell me them. All I want you to do is type in multiply and then your 2 digits. So go ahead and do that right now.
Multiply by my 2 digits.
Yeah, cool. Don't press equal. Don't press equal. Okay, now I want you to do the same thing. Don't say anything. Just type in multiply and then your 2 digits and nothing after. Cool. So that's 3. We're going to do 2 more. Let's get back here. So hit multiply and then hit your 2 digits. Awesome. One more. And so we have 5 two-digit numbers. I don't know who here is like a math whiz, but this should be somewhere in the millions, hopefully. Let's go. How about you? So what I want you to do is grab it, hit multiply, your 2 digits, and then just press equal. And what do we have? Got a big number? Okay, I want you to go ahead and read that out loud to me, and I'm going to write that down here.
318 million.
Hold on a sec. What is it?
318 million.
318 million.
8,816.
8,000?
Yes.
So 0.
008.
Okay.
And 816.
816. Great handwriting, I know. So this is, can you just confirm that's the number, yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So can you go ahead and do a screenshot? You know how to do that on the iPhone? Did it work?
Yeah.
Cool. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and leave that right now. Can I grab this back from you? And you can go ahead and hold on to that. Thanks so much for helping me out with that. Now, before I go any further, I just want to give this to someone, just a little prediction. This is today's prediction. Inside this, before the show, I wrote down something that I hope is going to happen today. We're going to see. I don't know, but we're going to see. Based on decisions that you guys make. So would you go ahead and do me a favor and just take this and hold on to it, make sure no one messes with it?
Will do.
Yeah? You're trustworthy? We've never met before? I didn't tell you, like, switch it with the other envelope? No. No, okay. Right now, I promise you guys no card tricks at the beginning, but what I want to do right now is do something even better. A coin trick. Are you ready? Ta-da! No. So I want to tell you guys a story about a coin, a man, and a game of choices. All right, so I'm just going to place this right here. So let's see here. A man. You, sir, what's your name?
Ryan.
Ryan.
Yep.
Ryan, okay. Ryan. This is a story about Ryan. Yeah. Ryan was a man, much like every other man he knew, although he considered himself far more interesting and intelligent and charming and witty and attractive than the other men he knew. But this fact was not the point, and continues not to be. Much like every other man he knew at, how old are you, Ryan?
31.
31. Ryan was concerned about a lot of things. Concerned about the work he was going to push off till next week. As a Google employee, as a, what do you do?
Engineering.
As an engineering. You have a specific type of engineering?
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure. Do you work on secret projects?
Ads. Not that secret.
Okay. As an infrastructure engineer. He was concerned by his troubling spending habits, boozing 3 or 4 nights a week, eating out constantly, spending money frivolously on things like driverless vehicles or whatever you guys spend your money on over here. Most concerning of all, however, to Ryan was the fact that he was having a story told about him at this very moment to a group of Googlers, and soon to be streamed live over the internet. At this moment, Ryan was concerned. He said, "Why did I not just tune in to the live stream?" he said.
Why did I not just tune in to the live stream?
Did he have to pick me? He went on.
Did he have to pick me?
I love wheelbarrows.
I love wheelbarrows.
Asparagus.
Asparagus.
Ryan was an odd fellow. Give Ryan a big round of applause. He joins me up on stage. No, we're fine. So as Ryan went up onto the stage and took his place, he noticed something peculiar in front of him on the ground, a glimmer of silver, a coin on the ground a few feet away. He bent over and picked it up. He examined it. A $50. He gave it a flip and listened to it sing as it spun through the air. He brought it up to his ear and shook it. What it was he was expecting to hear, I cannot know. Ryan, I'd like to play a game with you, a game of choices. Do you think that you're a fairly predictable type of person? Fairly predictable type of personality?
Sure,
Yeah, good. You are aware of You're aware, of course, that as humans we are, pattern-seeking creatures with brains that have evolved in order to analyze our environments for these patterns, in order to sift through the incredible barrage of information hitting our senses every second we live. You know this?
I do that, yes.
Yes, exactly. So you know that as humans we are predictable. So you agree you are predictable.
I'm very predictable.
I'd like to give you a chance to prove yourself right.
Thanks.
Or wrong, depending on what you want to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, what we're going to play right here is a game. Can you just step back a little bit? We're going to play a game involving your choices. What I want you to do is place the coin behind your back. Don't place it into either hand yet. Just hold it between the two hands. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to place it into one of your two hands, and I'm going to try and guess which hand you place it in. If I do not correctly guess 5 times in a row, then you can win the dollar bill that I floated earlier. So. Just saying, this is we got a lot running on this, all right? So, Ryan, right now, I want you to place the coin into either of your two hands, okay? Now, you can place it in your left hand, audience, that's your right, or the hand that's left, your right hand, right? You understand? You following? Great. Now, so Ryan, go ahead and just face me, place the two, right, place it into one of your two hands, bring them out, right? Excellent. Bring them out like this. Awesome. Now what I want you to do, face the audience actually. Now Ryan, I want you to focus on which hand you've placed the coin in. Don't give anything away. But if you did exactly what I wanted you to do, I think you would place it in your right hand. Please open your hand and show everyone that it's in your right hand. It is in your right hand. Excellent. So that's 1 out of 1. Not very impressive. 50-50 try. One more time, I want you to go ahead and place it behind your back. And this time, obviously, the question is whether he should keep it in the same hand or switch. Right? If he keeps it in the same, he knows that only a fool would keep it in the same losing hand twice. Of course, so obviously the only thing he can do is switch hands, but he knows that I know that only a fool would keep it in the same hand twice, and so he should switch hands, so he knows that the only thing he can do really is to keep it in the same losing hand a second time, right? But of course you know that I know that he knows that I know that, so you follow, right? So you've made your choice? Yeah. Good, so bring your two hands back around. Yeah, excellent. Spread them out a little bit. Now, what I think here is actually, go ahead and face the audience. Audience, I want to see if you guys can tell the difference here, right? A little closer together. Now, we have two, go in the middle, right? So the question is whether he keeps it in the same hand or switches, right? First one, he kept it in the right hand. So if he thinks that he should switch it, you keep it in your left hand, right?
Correct.
I think that you would have placed it in your left hand. Yep. Okay. So 2 out of 2, not very impressive. That's only 1 out of 4. But you can try it one more time. We have 3 more tries. Okay. So this time I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you. I'm telling you right now that next time I'm going to choose your left hand.
Okay.
So just choose whatever you want, left or right. Doesn't really matter. Just choose left or right. Can you come a little closer?
Yep.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
You've made your choice?
I've made my choice.
Okay, come bring him back. Bring him back around. Bring him up to my face. Just right there. You remember what I said, right?
Barely.
Okay. I said I was going to choose your left hand, right? So now the question is, what kind of person is Ryan, right? Is he the kind of person who just goes kind of along with the motions, just kind of does what people say? And we can kind of think that he is, in fact, that kind of person, considering he was so animated earlier with saying asparagus. And yeah, I think you would probably believe me that I would choose your left hand. And of course, I'm not going to. I'm going to choose your right hand. So go ahead and open it. And that's 3 out of 3. Okay, so we have 2 more tries. 2 more tries. So I'm not going to say anything this time. Just choose whichever hand you want. Audience, this is going to be your responsibility on this one, so I'm kind of getting out of the picture. I'm hoping that you guys have an intuitive understanding of what he will choose. So try and get in sync with Ryan real fast. So go ahead and choose.
Okay.
You've chose?
Yep.
Chosen? Bring your hands back around. Now, audience, a round of applause. Actually, let's just do this. Everyone, on the count of 3, just shout out, all hopefully the same. Which hand do you think it is? So 1, 2, 3. Left. Ooh, okay. So much stronger on left, right? So they think it's in this hand, right? The question is it in this hand or this hand?
Right.
Let's do a little bit of different thing. Let's go round of applause 4. Okay, so round of applause for left hand. Okay. Now round of applause for right hand. Yeah. That sounded fairly equal. Yeah, I think so. That's more applause than I've gotten all day so far, so that's good. Well done. No, I think, audience, you kind of split decision, so I'm just going to be the vote on this. I think he chose his right hand. So go ahead and open it.
Yep.
And right hand one more time. So that's four in a row. That's not very, don't applaud. Don't applaud, not impressive. One more. Thank you. Excellent. Boo is necessary. So one more try, right? This time, I won't say anything again, just other than whichever one you want, right or left, left or right. You can choose right hand or the wrong hand, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
You've made your choice. You made your choice?
Yes.
Okay. So once again, bring him out. I'm trying to see through his hands at this point. Okay. I think, let's see. So what was the pattern we've had so far? We had right, left, left, right, 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 left, left. I don't, wait. All right, so I think you chose, I think I know what hand you chose. If I get it right, please just hand me the coin and retake your seat to thunderous applause, all for you, okay? And I'm just gonna go ahead and just take this back. I'm this confident. Okay, so I think it is in your, once again in your right hand, so go ahead and just place it, and that's it, right hand, and give him a big round of applause as he takes his seat. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much, Ryan, for dealing with that. I appreciate that a lot. And thank you guys all so much for enjoying that with me. Now, I love magic. Who here loves magic? Who here loves magicians? No? Yeah, me either. Magic recently has gotten a lot more popular in the past 10 years or so based off of all these shows, TV specials, movies and that kind of thing. But it's still a sad truth that magic in general is, filled with, bad illusions, socially awkward, look at what I can do performers, and witless presentations. Magic in general is a fantastic art, but there are a lot of problems in it. I want to talk to you guys about a few of those, but I also want to talk to you about how to create magical experiences. Now, I don't blame people for feeling somewhat negative toward the art of magic in general, because often it seems like a lot of magical presentations that people see do one of two things. Either they're not challenging intellectually, they insult you and your intelligence by pretending that you don't know that there's a string floating the dollar. Or the magician forces or gives you the impression that he expects you to believe that he actually holds the powers that his illusions are replicating. This is kind of an insult to your intellect, that he's not a wizard, right? This is clear. He's an illusionist. Either that, or magic is presented as a puzzle that pits the audience against the magician in some sort of twisted battle of wits, where if the magician fools you, you lose. If he doesn't, then the magic is ruined, right? None of these are ideal. Now that being said, I do believe strongly that magic has the potential to be a very intellectual and serious art form. And that's because what magic ultimately deals with is something very, very powerful, and that is the nature of truth. What is reality? What is our reality? At any moment, any given time, the most important basic belief you form is what is real? What is my reality? And it's from this belief that we form all of our others, and if we make errors in this judgment, obviously it can have very dire consequences. When I'm walking, into Google across the street, if I make an error in my judgment of reality and I don't see the car coming, obviously, bad things. If I err consistently in less physically perilous ways, mental ways, psychological ways, I'm a schizophrenic. It's this what is real is one of our most central and foundational beliefs, and it's always humming along right under our level of conscious awareness. And I think it can be, with magic, a very profound thing. Profound, but not the point. Right? The key to creating magical experiences is not to convince your audience that they are, they may or may not be sane. The key to creating magical experiences, I think, is this. So, number one, we must understand the assumptions and expectations of our audience. Pencils, please. Number two, we must break these expectations and assumptions. And number three, we must break them in a way that brings people joy and also makes them question just what is possible to have happen in an experience. Now, as much as we all like to think of ourselves as logical and rational beings, we only have to look so far as our news headlines, even ourselves, when in anger or in love or drunk or whatever, to realize how wrong of an assumption this is. No matter how much we like to praise our rational and rational side, there's no arguing that we are ruled by our emotions. We are ruled by our emotions, and it's important to and sometimes this can be a very bad thing because sometimes we'll find ourselves acting in ways that we don't want to act, or not being able to do the things that we want to do. For example, we all know that it's important to floss twice a day, that we should eat healthy, and that we should exercise, and we should, save money. And yet, how many of us actually do these things? I don't. I don't know about you. You guys are better individuals than I. As people, as we all are, as people who create experiences for others, it's vital to know and understand this gap between the logic and the emotional side, and what is the most strong pull. Obviously, emotion. Now. Also, of course, so what's the best way to engage with someone's emotional side? Now, if you remember break expectations, number 2, right? I think surprising people by breaking their expectations is the most powerful way to engage with their emotional side. And, this makes sense. Surprising is it breaks you out of your day-to-day assumptions. Now, of course, surprise is powerful. But surprise surprise in general is not necessarily a good thing. If I ask, who likes to be surprised? It's like very few people like surprises. But that's because most of the time when you guys engage with surprises, it's a negative thing. If my friend expects me to pick him up from the airport, and I surprise him by not picking him up at the airport, this is not an enjoyable experience. But if I say surprise him by bringing him a sandwich because he'll be hungry from his flight, or bring 2 of his best friends along to surprise, these are good experiences. So that being said, obviously, the surprises that we embed in the experiences we create need to be positive. Google Doodles is a great example of this. The doodles on search is a very kind of neutral experience. You're trying to find someone. It's a road to where you actually want to be. And yet you, I suppose someone in this campus, maybe not you specifically, has decided that it'd be a great idea to inject a little joy bomb in this experience. And it's wonderful. Now, unfortunately, people expect the doodles, so it's not so much of a surprise anymore. But still, it is a great example of something that you can embed. Now, as a magician whose illusions depend on the choices that people make, of course, I have to be aware of and anticipate the expectations and assumptions that my audiences will have when they go into an experience with myself. But that doesn't mean that it's no less important for anyone who creates experiences to do this. You guys should all actually probably be much more aware of these expectations and assumptions that your audiences will have in the experiences that you create, because the experiences that you deliver, mine start when you walk into the theater and end when you walk out. Yours, Google, social media, Gmail, Maps, all these things are embedded in our lives to the point where they are part of who we are. Our phone buzzes, people are getting phantom vibrations, our phones are so connected to us. So it's even more important to be aware of these expectations, embed surprises, and embed joy. But not only that, make you feel as if you're living in the future. And I think this is one of the things that Google is best at, and other companies in the tech world are very good at, best at. For example, I can open my phone, press a button, and watch a car come pick me up and know exactly how much it's going to cost and how long it's going to take to get to my friend's house. This is, to the taxi hailing era, a magical experience. I'd like to leave you guys with just one of my favorite quotes that I think is extremely relevant for you guys. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. This is Arthur C. Clarke, 2001: A Space Odyssey guy. And it's a great, I think it's a great, pithy statement of what it is that you guys should be trying to do. And I think that you guys are doing. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching and enjoying this with me. Yes, the envelope. Right. So in a moment, so yeah, we're going to get to the envelope. Thank you guys so much for listening to that part. This is back to a little bit, one final magical experience, I hope. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to just go ahead and, I have this mic. Is this on? We'll see. Yeah. Yep. So in a moment, I just want you to stand up, please. Open it and read out what it is inside. And I'm hoping that it will correspond with. So just so just go ahead and open it and just read what's inside. I'm hoping that this is good. I think it will be. So. Oh boy. That's fine. So thank you so much for coming, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Wait, no, actually, hold on a second. I think we do. We can salvage this. So we have the numbers, right? 318,008,816. So I wanted to deliver to you guys one last magical experience, and it's this, right? I'm going to transform your experience right now. So this is the prediction. Today, Google, who sees it? Right? So that's 918, Google. That's today and right now. Ah, yes. So thank you guys so much for coming, and thank you. Yeah, you can go ahead and sit back down. Thanks very much. Yeah. All right, so we are going to have a Q&A. If anyone has questions, we're going to have a Q&A, so feel free to stay. If you don't want to stay, if you're sick of it, you don't have any questions, and you don't want to hear the answers, get the hell out of here. But if not, please, yeah. I should point out quickly that this is not going to be a traditional Q&A. This is not going to be a Q&A. This is going to be Q&AA, which is questions and attempted answers. So I promise you, I'm going to try my best, but I won't reveal any secrets to you, and I may not know any answers. So yeah, go ahead.
This is a very simple question, not a profound one, and I think you will have an A.
I hope so.
So which is, how old are you? Why are you not very old? Why don't you?
How old am I?
Yeah.
I'm 24.
That's it? Like,
That's 24.
Then why don't you have long hair? Like magicians are supposed to have long hair.
Because I'm breaking expectations and assumptions.
Okay.
Are magicians supposed to have long hair?
Yeah, and the cape too.
Oh,
Where's
yes.
the cape?
So, yeah. So these are the expectations and assumptions I was talking about, right? One of the reasons I don't like to call myself a magician is because people assume that I'm going to have long hair, wear a cape, have a cane, and a pet bunny rabbit, which I'm working on. Okay. Yeah, is that you have another question?
Yeah, the follow-up question is,
Sure.
How did you get into this? What fascinates you and what keeps you here?
Well, what fascinates me about I mean, I hope to have answered a few of those questions in the presentation, but I suppose what fascinates me about magic, in large part, is the experience of what is possible versus what is impossible. I think it's a really powerful thing to be able to break people's expectations and to show them something and have them jarred really quickly out of their they're just like kind of neutral, baseline level of experience. Another thing that fascinates me about magic, one of my favorite parts about it, is how it makes people fools. I love, more than anything else, being deceived by something because it shows me my ignorance. I think magic is one of the best ways to learn what it is about your perceptions and your level of attention that are completely false. People can be fooled, everyone, and that has implications on so many spectrums, from like the skepticism spectrum of God doesn't exist in religion and alternative medicine and stuff, all the way to just day-to-day things, not being aware of the intentions of people that you're hanging out with, like that kind of stuff. So I think it does have a lot of meaning behind it and importance. Yeah.
So I think one of the points you brought up was about the expectations or the cool science stuff. One of the kids' class I was there and said, "Hey, magic, look, there is a device here which I can press a few buttons, talk to, and see somebody around the world."
Oh yeah.
And people like, "So what?" Like the kids basically, they don't
know.
think that
Yeah.
as a magic. So that's a very good point. Like, this could have been actually the grand magic 100 years ago if you had shown somebody.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, all the technology that we live in right now is completely impossible, or just so out of the realm of imagination of a human of 100 years ago. It is just mind-boggling what we can do.
So what I find fascinating is the small tricks you do still fascinates people versus they are completely oblivious to the fact, which is, you are living under magic, which was not possible 100 years ago or something like this.
Yeah.
Fly around the world and go somewhere and do.
I think one of the challenges of magic right now is trying to continue to evolve alongside technology. Because a lot of the things, and that's one of the problems with the magician assuming what I said earlier, like a magician assuming that you know, or expecting you to believe that he has magical powers. If you, it's insulting to watch a magician perform and then feel as though he wants you to believe that he can levitate something, or to stick a spike through a woman, or, to have, at this age of technology and advanced technology and that kind of stuff, we have a very large understanding of what is impossible and what is possible. We all know you cannot levitate something, with your mind, right? You can't do that. And so I think one of the challenges is, and one of the challenges that magic is struggling with in large part in a lot of areas, is these magicians who continue to perform these rudimentary and old style, impressive when we didn't have such an understanding of what the world is like, but not impressive anymore. Floating a little ball on a handkerchief, like you know that can't work, so it doesn't impress anymore.
Yeah, what are the magicians that you particularly admire and aspire to be as good as?
So one magician I admire and aspire to be as good as, hopefully, is right here. David Gerard, everyone, David Gerard right here, Google magician extraordinaire.
Here, I have a badge.
Yeah. David's a fantastic magician. I saw him a few weeks ago at the Magic Castle when he was performing there with a friend of his. And he has a wonderful, wonderful performance, so I recommend you all go see his. In terms of famous magicians, there's one. In terms of famous magicians, of course, we have, very few that you guys probably would know. A man who's a huge inspiration to me is a man named Darren Brown. Does anyone here know who Darren Brown is except for him? Yeah? We got a few? Two? So you'll know he's amazing, is he not? He is a Englishman, a British guy who does similar psychological hypnotism, all sorts of incredible presentations that involve magic but are not just magic. They go way beyond it. So I highly recommend you check him out. He is awesome, and he definitely inspired me, and almost every other magician that you'll run into these days.
So sorry, I missed the first part. How early in your life you started doing this? And
I got into magic, as I said, when I was 9, but I didn't actually start doing magic until I was maybe like 12. And then my first actual public performance was in high school. My first full theater show was in college. And so I'm very new at this in terms of stage time. I've only put on about maybe 30 full shows, and I hope to continue to improve and to perform more.
Talking of manipulating audiences, what's the most surprising thing an audience has done to you?
Interesting question. Surprising thing an audience has done to me. Well, I think probably. Well, about 2 years ago, I was performing a routine that maybe some of you guys have seen on America's Got Talent or something, where someone has a bunch of a big spike under either in paper bags or under styrofoam cups. And I was performing this routine, and you smash the ones that it's not in, obviously, and end with the one that it's in, unsmashed. So I was doing this with a woman on stage who was helping me out, and there's a safety mechanism built into the trick where hopefully if it's about to go wrong, she will stop me, right? And the audience also will hopefully scream and stuff. This didn't happen. There was no safety mechanism, and I stabbed myself in the hand with a nail. So that was continued the show. The show must go on. So and what was worse is that I had asked someone in the audience who is medically trained to help me out. I had a first aid kit. I still got it right in here. First aid kit. I said, do you know how to bandage someone? Good. It's supposed to all be for show, you know, build the tension. No. She didn't know how to bandage me. She lied about being first aid trained, and I was just like, help me out with the bandage, and she says, I don't know how to do it, and I was like, okay, I'll do it myself, and then continued the show and kicked her out. So that was the show. Yeah. Any other questions?
You told that story when I saw you, and I thought it was a joke. I thought it was part of the show.
Very serious. Yeah, very serious.
I was just wondering, the one we did with the coin, if you've ever had anyone, while they have their hands behind their
back,
win
$1, like, put it in their pocket.
Put it in their pocket.
Yeah. Read your mind. Yes, this has happened, and hopefully by the way that they act and the little smirk on their face, you can guess. Often when I'm doing this, I'll say, now you didn't put it in your pocket, did you? And they'll say, oh, I did, and it's a win, right? But I didn't do that this time because I was so confident with you, Ryan. So yes, this is something that does happen, but there are ways to get around that.
So do you watch for facial expressions and Paul Ekman and Lie to Me and all that stuff?
I don't watch the show Lie to Me.
Okay.
But a part of the stuff that I've tried to learn as a magician, because I think it very much makes your performance better, is to be able to read your audience and read your spectator, or your participant, I should say. So the people who come on the stage, it's vitally important to watch what they're doing, how they're acting, and then use that to your advantage, whether calling out different things. Like, I'm sure all of you guys saw when I said left or I said right, I don't remember which, but you gave a huge little half smirk. Huge little, sorry about that. You gave a very obvious little like twitch of your mouth. And do we see this? I saw. I don't know how obvious this is to audiences, but this kind of thing is very, very good to call out during a show, or to seem as though you're using that to predict. So yeah, it's part of the training, but it's definitely not everything.
Also, is there any like plug I can give? Mindofkevin.com.
Sure.
And if there are any shows,
you can find tickets and show dates for the show that I perform in San Francisco. Sorry, not around here. For those of you guys who live around here, shows in San Francisco. Next ones I think are in November, but I do them relatively often, like once or twice a month. You can find this stuff on my website, mindofkevin.com. So yeah.
Thank you. Please join me.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.